Well, hello and welcome to our special programme focusing on Sheffield Wednesday. I'm Rob O'Neill, and during the next 30 minutes or so we'll be looking ahead to the Owls' next game against Ipswich Town and taking a look in behind the scenes here at Hillsborough. I'll be joined on the programme by the Wednesday boss Dave Jones, who looks ahead to that game against Town as he looks for that elusive first win of the season. We'll also hear their thoughts to defender Lewis Buxton, who's on the comeback trail after what has been an injury. Hit season 4, the fullback. He's now hoping that's all behind him. Lee Bullen's on the show as well, offering us an insight into his new book, No Bull. We'll be finding out what that's all about in just a few minutes as well. If that wasn't enough, my regular sidekick and Wednesday player John Pearson will be here talking about the Owls. Lots to look forward to. Don't go anywhere. The next 30 minutes are all Wednesday. Well, I'm here with John Pearson then. John, in your role as football in the community officer here.
Yeah, well, this is my 9 to 5 job. I work with different groups of students during the week. This is the futsal course that we're running, the level 3s. It's a fantastic course. Obviously, they get to play futsal every 2 weeks in a competition up in Leeds, and it helps to keep them coming, and it's a really big reward for them.
We'll talk a bit more about what you do when you're not doing the commentary, because that's what everyone obviously hears you. We don't have a chance really to chat about other things other than the match. By the time you join me, it's usually about 2 minutes for the kick-off, because he's got corporate stuff that he has to keep busy with as well. So you're a busy man on a Saturday.
Saturday's a busy day. I invite the ex-players and get as many of them to come down as possible. And they usually do the half-time draw. They come and have a meal with us, and so there's myself, David Hurst, Laurie Madden. We have Mike Pickering filling in when people are away on holiday. So we've got a great set of people working down there.
Busy man. As far as the team goes, to say the season hasn't gone to plan is a bit of an understatement, but there are signs that things are looking a bit better, even if the results aren't quite what we want.
Well, I have to say, I thought the first half against Doncaster was our best 45 minutes of the season, and the tempo and the way they went about the job, and I mean the supporters were unbelievable. I've not heard Hillsborough, as loud as that for, probably since the Wickham game. The way the supporters got behind the team was unreal. But obviously, as I said at half time in that commentary, they set the standards then, and they've got to keep that going. They've shown what they're capable of, and obviously if we can keep doing that and keep playing that way and that sort of tempo and that sort of purpose, I don't think we've got any problems.
We talked a lot about the crowd at the weekend and how they were really right with the side, and even when they'd lost the match, they gave them an applause, they gave them an appreciation for what they had put in for the majority of the match.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, standing ovation at half time when they walked off the pitch. The week before when we played Yeovil were clapped off the pitch, so it was a marked contrast in those two home games, and they showed that, that all the talk of being fearful about playing at Hillsborough or whatever it is, just wasn't there, because it wasn't there against Doncaster.
We've seen, as I say, the highs and lows of being a Wednesday fan. I mean, you've played as, a striker for this football club. You've followed them from afar as well when you've been at other teams. What is it like to kind of, do the whole thing? Do you still feel like the fan you were when you were growing up on the terraces?
Yeah, without a doubt. I lived and breathed Sheffield Wednesday from being well, since I can remember. I can't put an age on it, but I was, I'm just round the corner. I try to go to as many away games as I can. Not always possible, but I really enjoy the away games. It's the pressure's off. I can, I don't have to do the commentary and do the corporate stuff. I can just go and have a drink in the pub and enjoy the atmosphere before and after the game.
To say you've been in football, well, a long time, let's be right, you've still got that hunger and the enthusiasm for it. I mean, some players you talk to and you get the feeling that maybe they've been damaged by the game. Do you know what I mean? They've seen so much football that perhaps they're not the fans that they were when they started out.
I've supported Sheffield Wednesday. That's different. I did lose a little bit of contact. I mean, I think that when you go to another club, you have to sort of give your heart and soul to that club, because you are playing, you're a professional, and you try to love every club that you're at as much as Sheffield Wednesday. But I suppose that's not possible. You support the club that you support, and as much as I loved playing for the clubs that I did play for, that sort of passion that burnt from being a child wasn't there. So I mean, that's only natural. You can only support one side. I I'm not one of those people who could change or go and support the glory boys or stuff like that. You're Sheffield Wednesday through and through, and that's what you'll always be.
Anyone who tunes into us, whether they're in America or Hong Kong or wherever it is, we get contact on the emails. They all love the passion that you bring to the commentaries, and we've heard you pull the plug out a few times over the years as well, because you really get in the moment, don't you? And you can tell it means a lot when Wednesday score.
Well, yeah, I was disappointed. I didn't want to do the commentary for the Wycombe game because I'd rather been on the Cop singing and enjoying the atmosphere, and the headphones really drown a little bit of that, so it doesn't always come through. But yeah, I get a little bit carried away sometimes when we score, and I think it's just natural. It's just how it is.
What we're doing the commentaries as a team, we try and I think call it as we see it really, and I think that honesty comes through, doesn't it? The fans who are at home, they are relying on us to be their eyes and their ears, and I think we do give a real true reflection. If they're playing well, like at the weekend, we'll call it that way, won't we? And if they haven't been so great, we do say that as well.
Well, yeah, you've got to be honest and got to be truthful. I think the thing that you've got to do as a commentator, or whatever my role is, that you've got to. If we're losing 5-0, I can't be going, well, I think we've been really unlucky today, but I also think that you've got to be careful, and there's nobody had more stick than myself when I was playing, so I know what it feels like, and I think it's very easy to be critical and to give people stick, and I might make comments that the defence has perhaps not played so well, or we've missed chances, or the crossing's not been to the standard that would have been expected. But I think it's really difficult to pick on individuals.
Yeah, and that's because as well, sometimes as fans we are a little bit guilty of being a bit too ecstatic about certain events, and then the other way we get a little bit too downhearted, and there's got to be a balance. And when you've played the game and been involved in the game, you realise that there are highs and lows, and you've got to kind of ride it a bit more even keel like.
Exactly. You've got to realise that the highs last probably as long as the lows, and most of the time we're in the middle somewhere, and we've got to fight our way through what we're going through at the moment. We did it last season, and I wasn't at Brighton the other night, but listening to it sounds as though obviously really unlucky to concede last minute, but I think the last two games have shown that we are capable of putting a run together, and I think that first win will be, it'll change things.
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll talk more about those two games in just a moment, but first let's look back at the last 7 days. Wednesday, of course, started out against Doncaster Rovers, looked good for large periods of the game, but ultimately came away empty-handed, and then it was just a point against Brighton, a last-minute goal, getting Brighton that draw.
It's a Yorkshire derby here at Hillsborough as Sheffield Wednesday go in search of their first league win of the season. It's their worst start since the 1999-2000 campaign. Tricky character Antonio. He does well to get the ball across. It's missed by Rob Jones. Well played by Paul Keegan. Brown pulled in and sliced behind for a corner. Bearing down on goal, Mike tries luck here, Alain. Gathered by Ross Turnbull in the Rovers goal. Over comes the corner now, the header down. Wednesday coming forward again, plenty back here for Rovers. All the way to the back post, Nihu heads it back, and Jones heads up from almost under his own crossbar. Alain there with him as well, McPhail might not need him. Curl ball into the centre again, Lera's header, good save by Turnbull. Gets to the byline, he's done well, Makeda. One too many touches maybe. The overlap here from Coppinger. Right the way across to Makeda! He's done it again. 2 goals last week against Nottingham Forest, and Federico Makeda puts Doncaster Rovers in front. Doncaster free kick, just a few more seconds off the clock. It's driven in low this time, and the shot back across goal. Trying to get to the byline, it's good defending again by Coppinger, and there goes the full-time whistle. It's another defeat for Sheffield Wednesday, but it's a big win for Doncaster and Paul Dickov. Their first win in 7 in all competitions.
Straight into Sussex by the Sea, welcome Brighton and Sheffield Wednesday onto the field. Brighton were beaten for the first time in 7 league games at Ipswich on Saturday. Sheffield Wednesday still searching for their first win of the Sky Bet Championship season. Brighton won this corresponding fixture last season 3-0, and Ashley Barnes is in here. This is a great chance for Brighton. Barnes, and Kirkland does very well. Still not clear. Now it is. Kirkland just hacks it away. Well, Barnes' touch just there allowed Kirkland the time to get in and get it away. He's going to have to wait for support. Here he comes with Bruno. And a shot from distance might be on here. It's drilled towards goal. Kirkland dives down on it. Ward slides a brilliant pass through to Loire. Barnes in the middle if he can find him. Loire still going. Goes down. No penalty. Referee says play on. It's Loire up against Lewis Buxton. The Brighton player felt he was fouled. Not quite sure where that one was landing. This is Jeremy Allan. Fryatt in the middle. Nice turn. Good finish. Matty Fryatt on loan from Hull. Starting a game for the first time this season and scoring for the first time since April 2012. Lovely finish past Cusack. Loire has seen a lot of the ball. This is Kemi Augustine. Plays it across for Barnes. He's on his own on the penalty spot. Couldn't get the shot on target. Loire taking on the defence for the umpteenth time. Cross is cleared out to Andrews. Time is running out for Brighton to get something from this. Just going to have to get it into the mix-up. And it comes in towards Ward. Played across. Andrews is there! Keith Andrews equalises in the 89th minute for Brighton. It was crossed in towards Ward, who leapt well, and then Andrews arrived unchecked. Looks as though Keith Andrews' goal might be enough to earn Brighton a point. Indeed it is. The referee blows his full-time whistle. Matty Fryatt's goal just before half-time, but Sheffield Wednesday in front. But Andrews' intervention late on makes it Brighton 1, Sheffield Wednesday 1.
Welcome back then. So there was the action from Wednesday's last couple of games. As you can see, little lapses of concentration though have just cost us dear. We've done well, but football is about doing it for 90 minutes or 94 or whatever the clock says. You've got to stay there and be composed and concentrate every moment.
Well, I think without a doubt, you take the last two games into isolation and look at those two games on their own. You know, they're really good games. You know, but because of what's gone on before as part of the season, you're thinking, you know, we're desperate for that win. Whereas, okay, I think that you can play poorly in games and win, but you can also play well and lose, which I think we did against Doncaster. So as I said before, the performance, if you perform week in and week out like we did against Doncaster, you're going to win more games than you're going to lose. And like I said against Brighton, I wasn't at the game, so I can't judge that. But it sounds as though we continued in the same sort of fashion. You know, slightly different personnel. There comes one of the futsal balls. I'll get rid of that.
Bit of action for us.
But it sounds as though, you know, we stuck to our task until the last minute.
The ball's come in from a foul throw, you know, but again, it's gone across our area a couple of times. Dave's spoken about it as well in the interview we'll hear a little later in the programme. You know, as good as you've done, it's still those little moments that can make the difference.
Yeah, the little moments all add up during the season, as I keep saying, you know, and individual games, take them on their own. If you'd have said before the game, you know, would you accept a draw at Brighton? Yeah, we would have accepted a draw at Brighton. Would we have accepted a lose at home to Doncaster? Probably not, but that performance you would have accepted, because 9 times out of 10 I think that performance gets you a win. So yeah, lapses in concentration or whatever you want to call it, you've got to cut them out as much as you can.
You look at the players' reaction after the goals have gone in as well lately, and I think that says a lot about the togetherness, which people might question. I think it says how much it's hurting the players right now, that they're putting shifts in but not getting their rewards.
Yeah, I mean, both goals have got to hurt all the players. Firstly, because they're playing really well at home against Doncaster, and there's no way that they deserve to lose that game. You know, and then you think, then it goes through your mind, you know, everything's against us and the world's against us and all that. But you've got to get that out of your mind as well. And then last minute at Brighton, you've got to start again, and that's about character, how well you bounce back from those two massive setbacks.
Over the course of the 90 minutes, it sounds like two very different performances. Clearly we felt for large periods against Doncaster we were the dominant team and we had the chances. Then at Brighton it was more of a back to the wall job where you have to defend for large periods, but you expect that away from home, and against a side like Brighton, probably before the game we would have taken a point.
Well, exactly. You know, like you said, two different performances. You go to Brighton and you snatch a goal. Great goal, Matty Fryatt, so that's pleasing that he's opened his account. You know, so that'll give him confidence. So, but again, all we can keep going back to is at the end of the game, you know, you've come away with 1 point out of those 2 games, and that will hurt. So we've got a great opportunity Saturday against Ipswich, who obviously went 3 goals. Was it a 3-goal lead into the second half, and then
4-1 up at one point, weren't they?
So they got a 3-goal lead, and now, you know, so both managers will be going, we've got to, you know, they've both had setbacks, and it's how they respond and what they do next, and Saturday's vital.
It is, and you've got an international break after that as well, so I'm sure that collectively the group won't want to have that long break with that monkey on the back still.
No, there'll be nothing better than having that break with the first win of the season, and I'm sure that's what they'll all be set out to do.
OK, well, let's hear the thoughts of manager Dave Jones then as he looks ahead to the game against Ipswich Town as he seeks that elusive first win. I just think that they're just ready for takeoff though. That one
that's what we feel. And we feel it's you know, Saturday and Tuesday night was just as big a disappointment to the Birmingham game for me. It more so because I felt for them, because I know how hard a shift the lads had put in, and so did they. So that's more cutting, because you know they've done everything that you've asked of them. They've ran the socks off. You're playing against a team that's, you know, double our weight, whatever it is. Because people sometimes always equate to, because there's more money, they must be better than you. It's not the case. We have a group of people here that at this moment haven't reached the level that we expect or they expected themselves, and we just feel it's not that far. It's a touch away, and that's how confident we are in them. And you know, sometimes you can go in after such a good performance of the night and absolutely berate them, because it shows that there's no team that we've played so far this year that is any better than what we are. And that goes for the teams that are at the top, and your Burnleys and your QPRs and everything else. They're no better than us, so get your finger out and start showing it. And that's what we were saying to them. And I felt we were on the way to that. And the other night proved it again, that when we are at our best, and we have to be at our best, we can't be half cock or whatever, we have to be at our best. We are a match for anybody in this division. We've never had the same defence for 2 games on the trot. We've always had to change it, either due to injury. It was mostly due to injury, so we've never kept the same 4 for 2 games on the trot. We're hoping that if we can get a settled team, then we'll have a bit more stability, a bit more cohesion on what we're trying to do, and then we can work from there. But you know, I would think, you know, it's unusual not to have had the same back 4 2 games on the trot, and that's not due to changing because of results or whatever. That's due to injury.
And you can tell as well that, you know, the collective, if anyone questions the spirit, the way that the players reacted to the 2 goals you conceded in the past week, that there's a real feeling that, you know, we've worked so hard and, you know, we've kind of lost it here.
Well, they've never lost that in any time I've been at this football club. They're just standard tick box, throwaway comments that people make. You know, the best, one of the best shouts in football is, "Oh, they've lost the dressing room." Well, the dressing room never goes anywhere. It's in the same place. It's made of brick. It's, you know, the people come up with all fantastic ways. You know, or they don't care. Of course they care. No one wants to go out and play and then be ridiculed by 20-odd thousand fans. It's quite cutting to you as a professional that, you know, oh, the dressing room's been lost. And then someone might say, oh, there's been a bust up in the training ground. But you never actually find out who this third party is. They are just throwaway comments. The one thing I can guarantee our fans is that there's never any bust-ups in this place. There's never any... they have arguments, they have disagreements, they get angry with each other. You might see a training session where someone's fired it up and there's tackles flying in and everything else because someone's been upset with something. That's all normal run-of-the-mill football training, football banter and the football society that you have. But when people say, oh, you've lost the dressing room, then I just find that unbelievable. It can just be somebody who just thinks or heard or so I'll just start a rumour. And, you know, you look at when managers leave and all of a sudden you get players coming out. Well, the time to say it is when they're actually there. If they're upset with something, say it then. Don't wait until that's a coward's way. That what you should be doing is saying it when you're there. And if someone's not happy here, we encourage it. If they're not happy with the training or whatever, we encourage them to say, look, didn't enjoy that today. Okay, we'll try and make it better tomorrow. What didn't you enjoy? What was wrong with it? Blah, blah, blah. So it's all collective. It's not just, right, this is it, that's what you're going to do. Do it, do as I say, or go your own way, whatever. You have to have a lot of cohesion within a football club. And if someone's not happy with something, then say it. Don't let it fester away. And then when the people leave, or you leave, or whatever, then you come out and say, oh, I didn't like this or like that. Because, you know, you get your time there. And I've always maintained that as soon as people walk through them gates there, that's their time to impress. And a lot of people always say, well, I never got my opportunity. Well, you get your opportunity every day. You don't just get it when you play. And that's what I was saying before. You know, we always pick up on players that aren't playing. Pick up on the ones that are playing because they're doing it. And because someone's not playing, they always think then, oh, it's better because he's not playing or results don't go, we'll put him in. And again, you might have to leave the person in that's not playing at his best to gain that confidence or whatever. It's just picking the right time, the right mode to do it, and that's part of the management. And nobody ever gets it fully 100%.
If the numbers and the situation were slightly different, do you think Michael might have been rested by now?
I listened to Mourinho's interview the other day. One, we always talk about people that ain't playing, which is right, because you always think there's something wrong or whatever, and sometimes players have to play to get to that level of what you think they are. And there's players that need to be pulled out and left and give a shake-up, and there's ones that you need to keep in. And you might have to forgive certain things to get them back to the way they are. Michael made the goal for us the other night. He made the goal, he got us the goal the other night through his sheer pace and determination. Because he's the one who kept it in play, hooked it back, and then Mukta found Matty in the box. So he made the goal.
Well, I'm joined now by someone that you could say is Mr. Sheffield Wednesday. He's been here as the club captain. He was part of that successful day at the Millennium Stadium. Now you're back as a coach when you're not doing book writing and that side of things. And you've got property as well that you try and sell as well. So you're a busy man, aren't you, Lee?
There's not enough minutes in the day, shall we say, Rob. Yeah, I've got 2 kids still up in Edinburgh, so if I'm not travelling up there, I'm in the office in the afternoons, I'm coaching here, I'm, as you say, trying to write this book as well. So to be fair, I wouldn't have it any other way.
You've always been like that. I remember the first day I interviewed you when you came down to Sheffield Wednesday, and you talked about kind of hard work and work ethic and that side of things, and you've got to where you are through graft, haven't you?
Oh, absolutely. I've never had the talent of some players, don't get me wrong. We've got a little bit, but I think my game was more about hard work, 100% effort, and never say die attitude. And I think, especially in a city like Sheffield, which is a really tough working class city, and obviously like steelworks, a lot of the people around here are very similar natured, so that bought me a bit of leeway with some of the fans when I'd make the odd mistake here and there on the pitch. But I've done it the hard way, you know. I never left school and went straight into professional football. I'd done the 9-to-5 job before entering the footballer's bubble that is professional, and I always appreciated the opportunity I was given, whether it was at Sheffield Wednesday or Falkirk or Dunfermline, wherever. So from that side of things, yeah, I've always felt I've been lucky to play the game.
And now you're coaching with the under-21s here, and I'm sure people will pick up on it in your book. You're able to kind of put that journey back into their education, aren't you? That hard work will get you where you want to go, but if you sit on your backsides, then you could find yourself out of the club and out of football altogether.
Exactly. If you think you're just going to walk straight into a first team, even at championship level, you've no chance. Absolutely no chance. You've got to work at it every day. You've got to spend that extra 15-20 minutes, half an hour out after everybody else has finished training, whether you're doing a little bit of running, practicing free kicks, practicing your heading. That 15 minutes, if you're doing that every day, at the end of the season, that'll add up to almost a couple of weeks extra training. So the old adage, you don't get anything for nothing. You only get out what you put into it, using all the cliches, but it's true. It is 100% true, and that's what I'm trying to put to the guys. A lot of the kids I'm coaching now have a lot better technical ability than I ever had. So if I can put a little bit of my work ethic into them, then they'll have half a chance.
So tell us about the book then, and the journey that you go through on it. I'm sure you go through the stories about how you worked in a bank, didn't you? I remember you told me that, and those experiences in Wollongong you played for, and all these obscure places you went before you ended up at Sheffield Wednesday.
Absolutely. I mean, it goes from, obviously starts as a kid in your schooling and where you're brought up from, but the footballing side of things, it starts from me being a schoolboy signing at Dunfermline Athletic and being released at that level, and getting an opportunity at Meadowbank and being released from them, and going to Stennismuir and being released from them. So it was knock back, and eventually you get to a point where you think, am I ever going to get the opportunity? So what I did, packed my bags, head to the other side of the world, and from there played in Australia, played in Hong Kong, played in Greece, came back to Scotland and signed for Dunfermline. So it took me a long route to get that professional contract at Dunfermline, but I got there in the end and did well enough. Sheffield Wednesday saw something in it. I got the opportunity at 33 years old, which most people wouldn't get at a club this size. But Wednesday were going through a tough time as well. Had a heck of a lot of ups and downs at the club, which you get as a supporter, as a player of Sheffield Wednesday. Fantastic time. Went back to Scotland with Falkirk, finished off my playing career there and stepped into the coaching side of things. So it's got a lot of ups and downs there, but I'm hoping that a lot of the supporters will be able to appreciate this side of things, because it's not about gold watches and Ferraris or anything like that. I'm one of these guys that's done it the hard way, like everybody else is, going to their work, whether they're a bin man, working in office, whatever, working media. We all have to work hard to get where we are, and we've all got bills to pay and mortgages to pay, and as I say, we all have ups and downs within our life.
Was there a moment when you thought, actually I can do this? Was there anyone that inspired you to really believe in that dream?
I think I got to that point when I was selected to play against England in Hong Kong. I mean, I think I must be the only player, Scottish player, that's played against the national team of England and never represented his country. So at that point, and going out there and actually doing well in the game, you suddenly think, you know what, I'm not as bad a player as I thought I was. And at that point you have this little dream that you might get an opportunity back in Europe somewhere, somebody will take a chance. And to be fair, Doug Ellis, who was part of the FA panel that day, actually approached me and asked me if I'd be interested in going back to England. I thought it was Aston Villa, but he pointed me towards Walsall. But even that, I went and trained with Walsall on the back of that one performance against England. And again, things don't stop from there. You go back and you realise your dream of playing in the Scottish Premier League as a kid growing up, and I got that opportunity with Dunfermline, all because of I took a gamble and went to the other side of the world and reinvented myself, got my confidence back as a footballer.
Well, there's still much more to come from Bully, but right now we're going to bring you the views of Lewis Buxton. The Wednesday fullback is fighting fit again and raring to go.
Yeah, it's been a frustrating season personally, and as a team, it's been frustrating as well. But hopefully, we can turn a corner starting Saturday.
But feeling good now?
Yeah, I feel okay. I feel like I need to, get into the swing of things, play a few games, and get a bit more training under my belt before, really feel sharp. But the only way I'm going to get that is through playing games.
You've been in this position before. You've experienced it numerous times, been down the wrong end, not where you want to be. But the manager seems quite confident, convinced actually that you will turn this round. Do you feel that in the dressing room?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's still early days. Obviously it's not great. We haven't won a game yet. That's not a good thing. But everyone seems confident, and we're confident as a group. The staff, all the players, that we will turn things around, and we've got plenty of time to do that.
Do you beat yourselves up about it though? The fact you've not won yet.
Yeah, I mean, everyone gets down, after games and that, when, you think you should have won games. There's games that have gone past, like the Millwall game, and even Tuesday, where we let a late goal in. So, you do get do beat yourself up a bit about it, but that's football. You just got to get on with it and focus on the next game.
What kind of a difference do you feel the additions have made? Roger Johnson, Steve McPhail, and more latterly Fryatt.
Yeah, I mean, Roger and Stephen bring a lot of experience. Stephen's very composed on the ball, and Roger's a natural leader at the back. So they're definitely gonna strengthen us, and the more the team gels together, I think the better we get. And then obviously Matty's come in, trained well, and scored in his debut, so that was a good start also.
The back four needs to be settled, doesn't it? The manager's been talking to us about that this morning as well, saying that he's not been able to name the same back four twice this season.
Yeah, I didn't realise that, but yeah, that's a massive thing. All the way through football, the best teams have a kind of settled back four, settled goalkeeper, and then you might change around your wingers a bit, but that's kind of like the rock of your team, and you've got to try and get some consistency in the lads, and the only way you can do that is through constantly playing together.
I assume when you've been out, you've still been coming to the home games to watch.
Yeah.
I was here for the last home game
Yeah.
against Doncaster. Do you feel that the team is beginning to take positive steps now? I guess when you factor in the Brighton display as well, does that give you confidence coming back to Hillsborough this weekend?
Yeah, I've watched the games that I haven't been involved in, and I thought we did well at home to Doncaster, and then we had a few chances, didn't take them, and that seems to be the way it's going at the minute, where they get a chance and they score. So yeah, we did. We just got to stay positive and focus on the next game, and not worry too much about what's going on in previous games.
What do you know about Ipswich?
A little bit, yeah. They've scored quite a few goals this season, and coming off the back of a 4-4 draw. Well, were they 3-1 up or
4-1 up, weren't they?
They were 4-1 up. Yeah. So yeah, they've got plenty of goals in their team. It appears this season, but and they're doing much better. Mick McCarthy seems to have turned them around, and I think they're 8th or something now, aren't they? So it'll be a tough game. I think they're a different challenge to what they were last season, and but there's no reason we can't come away with a victory.
The sequence of results, clearly it's demoralising and frustrating for everybody.
Yeah.
And you could see that when that goal went in so late in the game, thinking we've done it, and then you haven't. It's close but not quite there. I suppose that's why you want to get that win before the break against Ipswich.
Yeah, it's just it will obviously take a bit of pressure off, and I think once we get that first one, then we can continue on and hopefully move up the table. But it's just getting that first one out of the way, and hopefully we do that Saturday.